Put down your baby and pick up a beer or a bourbon, whatever you want to pick up. Dad Jokes is back with a brand new episode, and it is our 50th episode, Brandon. I can't believe we've hit 50 episodes. I'm not going to lie, if you told me at the beginning of this that we would have 50 episodes, I'm not sure I would believe you. But nonetheless, here we are, and we're 50 episodes in, Brandon.
It's the Big 5-0, and I'm excited. A part of what we're going to be talking about involved me going back and kind of skimming through some previous episodes, and our quality has definitely got better at the very least. I can tell you that much.
Well, I was going to tell you this. The 50 episodes means a couple things. One, it means that we've been doing this for a year now. But other than that, it also means that we've probably gotten a little bit better at podcasts. But also, we aren't rookies anymore at this parenting thing. You have almost a 1-year-old. I have almost a 9-month-old. We actually might know a little bit about what we're doing, as opposed to when we started this, we hadn't even had the kids yet. So we're growing up. We're growing up, I guess.
There are days that I feel like that, and then there's days like today where I feel the exact opposite. So,
we still don't know what we're doing.
Saying that couldn't be. Yeah, I still feel like I'm a rookie a lot of the time.
We're definitely still rookies. We still most of the time don't know what we're doing, and I'm pretty sure it'll be that way until they're 18 and out of the house, and probably after that. But hey, we've been 50 episodes in. We've learned at least a little bit. Hopefully we've helped other people learn a little bit. And what's exciting not only about 50 episodes, Brandon, is it being a big deal for us, but also it's exciting because it means it is a top 10 episode for us, which we always do our top 5s or top 10s because my 5 and your 5 makes 10. So that is something that we're going to get to today. And today, one of the things we're going to talk about in celebration of our 50 episodes is our top 5 episodes of all time. And we're also going to touch on our top 5 things we can't wait to teach our kids, along with a few other things. So I'm excited for it, Brandon. But before, as always, let's hit us with a dad joke. You want to start or you want me to start?
Oh, I'll go ahead and start, Jerry. And one thing that was fun in listening to these, and we'll have to reminisce a little bit later in the episode, but I tracked our jokes because for a while you were claiming that your jokes were better than mine. And I think we just have to let the people decide on the 5 episodes that I chose because I wrote them down. If you didn't have Nolan in your hip pocket who to give you jokes every couple episodes, I don't really think you beat me that often.
Smart people surround themselves with smarter people. And that's just me being smart.
That's pretty good. That's your dad tip of the day.
It is.
You're right about that. So, Jerry, you ready for these jokes?
I'm ready for these jokes.
You ready to lose today?
Do you have 2 jokks or just one?
I got one. I just got one.
Oh, you said these jokes, so I thought maybe you had 2 jokes.
Oh, no,
I was getting excited.
Just in general.
All right, I'm ready.
This one's PG-13.
Oh no.
Why do chickens not wear underwear?
Because something about Peep. I don't know.
Because their peckers are on their face.
Nice. I like it. I was thinking something about Peep.
I enjoyed that one.
That's a decent one. I actually had 2. I was deciding between, so that's why I was asking if you had 2. But I think I got it narrowed down to 1.
Give us both of them at the end of the episode because I feel like
we'll see how I'm feeling. They might. I like them, but we'll see how we're doing at the end of the episode. But Brandon, you said today's been a trying day for you. What's going on with Bryce and the Banks household for this today and the past week?
Well, Jerry, it feels like every time you or I are going through like an extended stretch of just annoyance or our kids throwing fits or something just not feeling right, what do we do? Not necessarily before, but right in the middle of it, we open up our Wonder Weeks app and just check. And Brian, wouldn't you know it, you have some days before and some days after, and Bryce is right smack dab in the middle of his 7th leap. And this is the leap where he basically they call it the sequence leap. But he's starting to put stuff together, and I can see it. But there is frustration for the first time in his life, and I kind of hit on this in our last episode. But you can tell he's frustrated when A, he doesn't get his way, and B, when he's not completely understood. And there's going to be that barrier. Just a communication barrier because he and I are speaking 2 completely different languages right now. But he definitely, and this is Kelsey and I both have to practice patience because he gets very frustrated when he does not get his way. So there's a ton of crying, clinging. He's grumpy. He'll be super happy 1 minute, sad the next.
He
and
takes
he's
after you.
I know you're not talking. And he's super attached to his mom. Kelsey had that trip where she had to go up to Canada for an audit. It was her first time away from him, and you can definitely tell a difference since he got back, and how much he kind of is clinging to her. So, and part of me thinks it just was going to come anyway. It's kind of poor timing because he started showing signs right before she left. But the other just random things. He is super fidgety. Like, he does not want to sit still at all. Always wants to be moving. But then he'll get to a spot and he'll like look up at you and want to be picked up. And then as soon as you pick him up, he wants to be right back down. It's the most annoying thing ever. It's like, dude, you want to get picked up, you want to be held, but you don't.
They don't know what they want.
No, he doesn't. And he's very mischievous. And I almost feel like he knows when he's not supposed to be doing something and still does it. Like we got those door stoppers in our bathrooms. It's cute at first, just FYI to all the dads and moms listening out there. It's kind of fun. And like they're like the spring ones where you flick it and it makes a sound. I used to love doing it when I was a kid. Well, this kid has pulled off 2 of them. So we have to get new door stops. And you kind of got to be careful. It turns from cute to destructive real quick. And he's infatuated with light switches. And he can reach one right by our couch. So he stands up on the couch and tries to get it. So that turned into a game of keep away. It's just there's a lot of little things that are fun and cute when he's first discovering them. And then it's like, I probably got to hone that in just a little bit. But that's been the last few days with Bryce. How are things going in the Lusky household?
You know what? It sounds kind of similar. Peyton is definitely at the stage where she wants to climb on everything and stand up and grab stuff. We have these bookshelves in her playroom, and she wants to grab everything off the shelves, the highest thing. Today I'm sitting in her like little playpen with her. She's playing, and I had something like a can I was drinking, like a pop can, and I put it on something high up, and she like was determined to climb on top of me, to climb on top of that to grab this can. And every time I would move it, she was not going to be discouraged. So she wants to get into everything, see what it is. She has all these toys at eye level and on the floor. Doesn't want those. Wants the ones she can't get to. So she's doing really good. She's standing up great on her own. She can crawl everywhere now. Flips over and herself. I mean, she's doing everything. She even can kind of stand for a few seconds on her own without any help. And then with that little walking thing we have for her, she can kind of do that well now. The problem is she will do it and she's like good with it. And then, but the second she's done with it, she's done with it. She does not want to do it, and you can't make her do it. She'll throw a hissy fit if you try to make her do it. But a positive thing is she's been doing really well this week at putting herself to sleep. I put her down, and she'll kind of be awake and kind of grumpy for a few minutes, and then she's been going to bed on her own after that, which has been really nice, and she's been doing that for naps, which is kind of what you want, especially when you go through sleep training, and she's gone in and out of those throughout time, but this last week has been really productive on that front, so that's been good for Mom and Dad too. She got to spend some time alone with her Aunt Molly on Saturday while I was at work and Macy was at work. It was the first time she watched her alone, so that was fun. And then she got a lot of dad time today and yesterday because Mom worked all weekend, so that's always fun because we get to spend a lot of time together, and she's in a fun stage right now, Brandon. She's interacts with you. As of before, you kind of near her, but now she wants to play with you, and she'll laugh at silly things I do or wants to climb on me. So it's been a lot of fun. Today was a good day, so that was a lot of fun. She's also obsessed with saying "dada," so that also makes it great because that's pretty much the only word she wants to say now. Even though she knows to say 5 or 6 words, "dad" has become pretty much tone for everything. Different tones of it. There's happy dada, mad dada, sad dada, just dada. But the big thing now too is not even dada. It's just da. She just says da. So I got that going.
Yeah,
for
Bryce still is not doing that for me, and he's to the point where he recognizes our dog Riley, and he'll go up to him and go rah, like, and I don't know if he's trying to say Riley or barking at him, but he recognizes Riley. He for sure knows who Mama is, and will call for Mama when he's crying. He sees her, he'll make the sound. I can't get a dada to save my life. He's happy when I'm around, but it's one thing I did forget to mention too. He has definitely discovered that if he doesn't necessarily like the texture of the food that he has in front of him, that his mom like spends hours making, he'll grab it. Like he has some macaroni noodles today. Grabs it, looks at it. Nope, I don't like how that feels. Looks for Riley, throws it on the ground. Looks for Riley, throws it on the ground. So that's something that we have to put some thought into what we're gonna do. Because I mean, Riley's about to get fat. Sitting next to Bryce for the rest of his life.
Yep.
But
Peyton hasn't figured that out, but Raj has figured out to go near Peyton when she's getting fed. The dog's figured that out. But one thing Peyton did do today is we were in their playroom, and Raj was up there with us, and Peyton kept trying to give her toys to Raja, which was kind of sweet, but also a lot of them were hard. And she's like putting the toys on Raja's head. And I'm like, okay, let's be nice. But Raja's great with it, and she was having a lot of fun. She loves that dog. I mean, she literally likes to play with the dog, be near the dog. Raja loves to give her kisses, but she's starting to get a little more rough with her, so I got to watch her. But not like in a mean way, but like I said, she'll play with a toy and then she'll put it on her. But she's rough with herself too. Like she had a toy. She's got these plush toys, like I forget what they're called, but they're like stuffed animals kind of, but they're like really soft. And she'll put her face in it and laugh. She thinks it's funny because it's soft. Well, yesterday she had like a hard toy, and I think she thought she could do the same thing. She put it in her face, and she kind of like got this sad look on her face. But I started dying laughing because I was like, "What are you doing?" And then she started laughing, so it was all good. But I'm like, "What?" I think she just thought it was going to be the same sensation, and it was not. So that was funny to see.
There was never a gentle period with Bryce and Riley. Bryce will always go up to him and grab his tail. He's gotten a little bit better, but it's that's something we're gonna have to work on. But speaking of toys, I do have a piece of baby gear this week, or
let's hear it.
A couple pieces, specifically around bath time. So bath time is one of my favorite things to do with Bryce. We have a lot of fun while he's in there, and there are two toys that I love. So one is the Yokido, or maybe it's pronounced Yokido, elephant baby shower bath toy, which basically it's an elephant that sinks to the bottom of the bath and has basically a shower head on the other end of it. It's small, like it's a kid shower head, but you basically are spraying. You can spray your kid off. The kid can squeeze the trigger on either side, and they can spray themselves. So that's something that we have a lot of fun with. And then Munchkin, who pretty much everything we have from Munchkin, I think I like. That's one of my favorite brands. But they have it's called Munchkin Falls Baby and Toddler Bath Toy, and it's four buckets. 3 of them have like adhesive on the back that you can just stick to like the wall of the shower. It's like, I'm saying adhesive. It's basically like those like I don't know how to pronounce it, but like the sucker things that just pop on the wall, you can pop it right back off. It's not like tape or anything like that. But one has like they have like little funnels at the bottom, so the water comes through them, and then they kind of spin. So it's something that Bryce loves playing with that in the shower. So we actually use the elephant to fill up the Munchkin buckets, and he has a ton of fun. But that bath time is probably my favorite time with him right now.
That's cool. Peyton's got a ton of bath toys. I don't even know how she fits in there with all her toys floating around. But I actually have a couple toys too to talk about. But before I do that, you said something. You mentioned Munchkin, and we both have a diaper pail that's from Arm & Hammer, but it's called like the Munchkin diaper pail. And I got to tell you again, Brandon, because we have a diaper genie upstairs. That Arm & Hammer diaper pail is so much better than that diaper genie. I can't, like, words do not do it justice. That one upstairs, it stinks after one diaper. I hate changing it. It's just I hate everything about it. But the Arm & Hammer one is fantastic. So if anyone's still thinking about getting a diaper pail, cannot recommend it enough because the other one is I hate it. And it was free. You think I'd like the free one better, but no. I cannot stand our Diaper Genie. I actually
Well,
might think
Diaper
I might
Genie
buy one.
require like its own like special inserts and stuff like that too, didn't it? I mean, I guess technically, the Arm &
technically,
Hammer
so does
too.
Arm & Hammer does too. Yeah, they both kind of do. Although you can use like a trash bag with the Diaper Genie, but I do not like that one. I had to empty it again today, and it's disgusting. It's just I don't know. I do not like that one at all. But to my pieces of baby gear, I have 2 toys that Peyton's been kind of obsessed with lately. The first one's really, really basic, I guess is what I'll call it. It is a Fisher-Price. It's called Poppity Pop Turtle. Basically, it's a little turtle on wheels that has little beads in it, and they make noise as you push it. And she thinks this thing's hilarious and fun and likes to push it all around. We play with that usually right before bed. That's our before bed toy. If I'm in her room reading books, she's usually playing with that toy. So that's a great
Poppity Pop Turtle.
Yeah, the Poppity Pop Turtle, $7.
I would never forget that. Poppity
Pop Turtle for $7. But the more fun toy, well, I guess more fun for her, not quite as much fun for Dad, which I'll get to. But she has been obsessed with the last couple days as I spent a lot of time with her. This toy that we got on our registry, or actually I don't think it was on our registry, it just was at our baby shower. But it's the Skip Hop baby toy guitar. It's called Rock-A-Mole guitar because it's a little avocado. And the middle, like the little pit, is like the guitar strings. And this thing, Peyton loves it. And she will like hit the buttons and it makes noises, like a guitar noises. And she'll like hit it and it'll make it for 5 seconds. And she'll put it down and she'll like dance. And then she'll pick it up again and hit it again and then dance again. She thinks it's so much fun. She'll play. I mean, usually she plays with the toy for 20 seconds and is on to the next one. She'll play with that for 20 minutes. So it is a lot of fun to see her play with it and dance. The one negative thing is it is loud. I mean, all baby toys make noise, but this thing's loud. Like, I was on the phone with my dad, and she was playing with it. I could barely hear what he was saying as we were FaceTiming Grandpa. So it's cool, though. It's fun. It's $17 on Amazon. But I tell you, Brandon, I don't know where she's getting it from because it's not me, it's not Macy, but this girl loves music. She loves playing her xylophone, which she can do great by herself now, and she loves this guitar thing. She just loves music. She loves music.
You brought up the dancing, and she got the music from her Uncle Brandon. That's really where she got it from. But there's nothing more fun right now for me than seeing Bryce hearing music and then realizing there's music playing and then he kind of gets to going a little bit like that. Watching
bounce.
Kids and babies dance, yeah, it's great.
Oh, it is funny because she'll sometimes like bounce, and then sometimes she'll even get the hands in it and she'll like waving the hands, and I'm just like it's funny, and she gets a big smirk on her face, and it's clearly to music because even sometimes, like I said, we'll in the house, like if the Bluey music starts playing in the background, she might not be paying attention at all, but she hears it and she starts to move a little bit and laugh. She has like this weird laugh that's very.
You said Bluey. Is that overrated show that you?
Well,
you guys are
now you're starting
about?
fights with every single person listening, probably, because, including one of our former guests, Nick Schumer. I know he's a huge fan of Bluey, so the Schumer household loves Bluey. Also, a former guest, Cameron Driscoll, huge Bluey family. So.
I messaged Cam about it over the weekend because he posted something on Facebook about it. I told him it was overrated. He told me I was clinically insane.
You are. It's so great. I watched an episode today with Peyton. It was hilarious. The kids were doing an obstacle course, and the dad wanted to race them. The mom's like, no, we don't need to do a race. And the dad's like, absolutely, which is the total dad thing. He's like, we're not just doing it for fun. We're going to race. And he beats the kids. Well, then the kids find out a way to beat him. He's about to lose, and he grabs the kid, pulls him behind him, and still wins the race. And I'm like, that's the most dad thing of all time. He couldn't accept losing to his little kids. So, it's great. I love that show.
I've watched about 7 minutes and formed a complete opinion on it. That's just what I do.
Well, one day we'll do a top 5 TV shows for kids, but it's not today. You know what we should do, Brandon? That's actually a good idea. Top 5 new TV show for kids and top 5 old school from when we were kids. That would be a fun episode.
We need to remember this for
I know we do.
60,
that's a good one right there. Because
maybe by that time I'll have watched Bluey.
Well, I know we had that one night when we were all hanging out with a bunch of our friends and we were going through a bunch of the old school shows. And then we had a lot of good ones from when we were kids, 90s cartoons were great. So,
I mean, we grew up in the perfect time. We still had all the old cartoons and shows that were kind of the previous era, and it hadn't gotten quite so weird yet.
Yeah,
So,
I agree with that. So, Brandon, let's jump into today's top fives. The first one is kind of a celebration of our 50th episode. It is our top 5 favorite episodes. So, your top 5 favorite, my top 5 favorite episodes that we've done thus far. So, we got 49 to choose from because today's I don't think we can choose. I don't know about you, Brandon, but I didn't put mine in like a specific order. Did you? I just kind of picked 5. I didn't pick like my favorite.
Yeah. Mine are in order.
Okay, well, I might have to think about it as we're going through.
It doesn't matter if yours aren't, but mine are definitely in.
Oh, I will.
In
okay,
order.
then I'll put them in there.
1.
All right, so you start with 5, and I'll figure mine out while you're starting with 5.
So the number 5 for me was an episode that we had 10 episodes ago. It's probably my favorite top 10 that we've done. Not probably, it is because I numbered it. It's the only top 10 on here. But it's a top 10 Disney songs. I think you and I had a pretty interesting back and forth. I definitely won with my list, but we had some similarities. Just so people know, I did do a little recap of the jokes. So your joke came from Nolan. Surprise, surprise. It was, what does a cannibal eat to freshen their breath? Mentos. That was actually a pretty hilarious joke. And mine was, what is Bigfoot's favorite exercise? Sasquatch. So for that one and that one only, because it was Nolan, I'll give you the dub.
You'll give me the dub. Well, it's funny, Brandon. So I said I didn't number mine, but actually I only have one top 10 episode in my top 5, and it's the exact same one. So I've loved all of our top 10 episodes. I think a lot of them have been great. Our first one was a lot of fun, but the best one, in my opinion, was that 40th episode where we kind of went over the Disney songs. It was fun to reminisce about that. We also went over some other fun things about being a dad. So that was just a great episode. So if you haven't listened back, all the 10 episodes, like so 10, 20, 30, and 40 are all great. But that 40th episode was a lot of fun. Brandon and me had some similarities on our Disney list, and we also had some differences, so it's kind of fun to hear, but you can't go wrong with some Disney songs. I won't lie. Not that I definitely think mine was better than yours, Brandon, but every song you named I liked, so I wasn't mad at your list. It wasn't like I was like, oh, that's a trash song.
That's fair.
So I think that's good at least. Because if you there's some songs you could have picked, I would have been like, that's garbage.
Well, I did. I don't know where I would put it, but one of our former guests, Nick Dykeman, hit me up as soon as the episode aired and was like, "Hey, man, you missed a Goofy movie, and stand out." And he was right. That is one of my favorite songs, but I don't quite know exactly what gets knocked off the list, but it does need some recognition. What number was that for you?
I put it 5 because I think that you went 5, so I'll keep it at 5. And then, if you don't mind, I'll go right into 4 because it kind of segues well. When I was looking at the top 5s episodes of all time, it's hard because we've had a lot of guests on this show, and a lot of the guests have done a great job. In fact, all the guests have done a great job, and those shows have been a lot of fun. So I didn't want to pick and choose which ones of our guests to be on there. So I kind of kept all the guest shows out, with the exception of one, and that's the Mother's Day episode because we had both Kelsey and Macy on it. So I thought it was
Jerry's kissing up.
No, I thought that was a fun episode because we're always talking about dad's perspective, so we got mom's perspectives on there. Plus, it was kind of in cohesion with Mother's Day, and it was kind of nice to hear the other half of the Dad Jokes podcast, the behind the scenes, if you will. So we got kind of a look at the ladies in our lives. So I don't know. I like that episode. It was a lot of fun. So of all the guests we've had on there, even though they've all been great, that was probably the most fun with guests that I've had.
Yeah, that was a great episode. I think we should have them back on, and we just need to figure out our audio on that because we kind of jacked the audio up.
Yeah, we did
a little bit, but that was one of my favorite episodes too. But it didn't make my list.
No brownie points for Brandon.
No. My number 4 was episode 24, which was work-life balance. And for me, I kind of remember my mind state going into this episode, and I didn't feel like doing this episode at the time, like at all. Like it was like I didn't feel like podcasting that day was really my issue. And by the end of it, almost more than any other episode we've had. So I guess this is more of a personal thing from a behind the scenes podcast standpoint. The whole episode just felt like a therapy session for me. And then listening back, that was something. I mean, it still is. It's something that as a dad you kind of struggle with, like how to find the right balance. What can you do? And I think it's a really impactful episode that we did. We kind of, it was one of the first times I think you and I peeled back the layers a little bit, and so that really was a good episode for me. The other thing that I noticed and kind of listening back is I went through periodic stretches of like just every time you kick it back to me in the beginning of an episode, it's like, hey, how's everything going? Oh, Bryce isn't sleeping well again. So it was there were probably like 3 8-week stretches of that in a row, and I noticed that on the beginning of this one as well. But from a joke perspective, your joke, you had 2 jokes, maybe like you will this go around too. The first one was, what's the best thing about Switzerland? You remember your answer?
Something about a plus sign.
I don't know, but the flag is a big plus.
There you go.
Solid.
Yep.
The second joke you deemed to be PG-13. I think it was more PG. But what did one saggy boob say to the other saggy boob? If we don't get the proper support, people will think we're nuts. It's pretty good.
That was a good one.
And then my joke,
that's a good
it was pretty good. You were laughing now listening to this lyric. What happens when you touch Dwayne Johnson's butt?
Oh, something about The Rock.
You hit rock bottom.
Yep.
So that one, I think we both we both did a pretty good job of telling the jokes. Your 2 to my 1, I'll give it a tie.
I like it. Well, you know what's funny, Brandon? We always joke about how different we are, but I literally have number 24 on my list as well, for a couple of reasons. One, 24 is my favorite number and is the greatest number of all time, so it just happened to be also the 24th episode.
It is your favorite number. It's not the greatest number.
I love 24. Miguel Cabrera, Ty Law, a lot of good 24s. Anyways, that's just
Kiefer
a small
Sutherland,
tidbit.
Jack Bauer.
But the big thing is you kind of hit it, Brandon, but 24 was a big episode, I think, because early on we had a lot of good episodes. We hit some hard-hitting things, but I think me and you kind of were more talking about stuff that was external or that was out there, and that episode really, I think, kind of was we looked in the mirror and we really kind of went internal, talked about things that are important to us. And I think that's a topic that sometimes that people always hear work-life balance, but people don't really want to sit down and think about what does that mean and what is my responsibility as a dad to make sure that I'm supporting my family from a work standpoint and also at home. And so it was a great episode. You hit it right on the head, to steal your phrase. But after the episode was over, I remember thinking, like, you know what, that was a good episode, even though I think both of us when we started weren't really sure how we felt going into it. But by the end of it, we felt a lot better. So if nothing else, it helped us. So 24, I'll make that my number 3. It was a very good episode. What's your number 3?
Man, we're going to have to, you and I didn't talk about these lists. We're going to have to break off the path a little bit.
I know. This is going to be crazy. We've done this a few times on Top 10, which it is funny. We had 49 episodes to choose from, and we've already had 2 of the same.
So, number 23 for me was the registry review.
That is not on mine, so we're doing good. We're doing good. Go ahead. Keep going.
I'm pretty sure that my next 3 probably aren't yours. Or 1 may be in a way. But, so... What I wanted to do here, we've done a lot of baby gear type episodes, and to me that one encompassed what was almost like the best of all of them. We've done episodes where we review like strollers specifically. We did a nursery tour. For the record, registry review is episode 23 if you're going back to look at it. We did a nursery tour, which also came with videos of video walkarounds of both of our nurseries, but I wanted to kind of find something that basically showed the baby gear, because I think those are really fun episodes that we do, but with a little bit different twist. So what we did with the registry review is we looked at each of our registries. We said, hey, if you guys are creating a registry, this is what so far we really need it. Maybe these are some things we should have asked more of, and these are things that kind of sucked. We called it the good, the bad, and the ugly. And it turned out to be a really good episode. Also, during that episode, we did what we always do, and we argued. It came down to arguing about football. There was a Lions game, I think, playing on your end in the background, and it was ironic because at the time I declared that I wasn't a Lions fan. It was part of the conversation we had, and since then I've hopped back on the bandwagon. So
he's back.
We're gonna see how this episode goes. This season goes. Randomly, we discussed Bryce's first farts, first big poops. It's kind of weird. Your joke that episode. What did Spartacus say when the lion ate his wife?
I don't know.
Nothing. He was glad he ate her. Glad he ate her. It's pretty good, Gerald. My joke.
Man, I'm funny.
Okay. You're okay. Well, I'm telling you the jokes that you thought were funny enough to bring to the episode.
Oh,
so, of course, you're going to think that they're hilarious.
Great.
What do you call a group of rabbits hopping backwards? A receding hairline.
I do remember that one. That's pretty good too.
My joke was better. I don't like your reaction. I don't like how hard you're laughing at your jokes.
Well, my joke was like a classic Brandon joke where you got to like do the gladiator.
But you didn't do it.
Yeah, but he would have done it. He would have. Oh, that's funny.
But yeah, that's my number 3.
All right, my number 2 is an episode that is my number 2 for a couple different reasons. It's the episode was episode 8, Dad Swag. That's my number 2. The first reason is that was kind of the episode where I think we finally kind of got a lot of our audio in like editing, and basically the quality of the production itself was a lot better. Because if you guys have been listening since the beginning, you can definitely notice from the first few episodes to now, we do a lot better job producing it. We started out with just some AirPods and kind of cell phones, and now we have professional microphones and recording software we use and edit it with good software and all that good stuff. So we've come a long way. So if you're listening, if this is the first time you're listening and you go to start at the beginning, just understand the first few episodes, the audio is not quite as good, but bear with it. It gets better after a few. But anyways,
that's
the first reason.
Shout out to you, too, because I sure wasn't planning on buying a mic. You were like, man, this doesn't sound. I was like, man, this sounds fine.
Yeah,
and
now
you couldn't tell the difference until you listen back, but it was trash.
Yeah, it's a lot better now. But that's the first reason. The second reason is it was fun. I mean, I think it's funny, talking about dad swag and talking about different things that, you see dads wear and what you can wear instead. It let our personality show a little bit. The other funny thing about it is I've noticed since becoming a dad 9 months in that my style has sometimes changed. I will, like today, I went on a walk with Peyton to the gas station. I was definitely in some joggers and this Under Armour t-shirt, which, not that I wouldn't have worn that before, but just as a dad, sometimes you just go whatever you can. This morning, Brandon, I got Peyton up out of her crib. Right before I got her up, I threw a t-shirt on because I sleep with no shirt on. Threw a t-shirt on, went and grabbed her. Within 5 seconds, she puked all over me. And I was like, well, there goes that shirt for the day. So, I mean, that's what you got to do. So I think it was fun, too.
Do what you got to do.
I don't know if you've noticed your style changing at all since you becoming a dad, but mine's changed just a little bit.
I
just
had
little small
dad swag
things.
anyway.
Yeah, you did have some dad
I've been
swag.
in t-shirts, shorts, and sweatpants my entire
shorts.
life. I came out the womb with them.
I've never owned a pair of sweat shorts, but...
One, they are Hoochie Daddy shorts, so they actually were named after me.
I like it. I've never heard them called that before.
What, Hoochie Daddy shorts?
Yeah, no.
Look them up.
I believe
you gotta have it. You gotta have the inseam right. They need to be kind of mid thigh.
Oh, I get it.
But it's I'm sure you do, Jerry. So episode 2. This is my only episode with a guest. Shout out to all the guests that we've had. This is one of the first guests that we had on, and it's episode 7. It's Money Talks with Nick Schumer.
Great episode.
And part of the reason I like this episode, one, I've known Nick quite a long time. He's a college frat brother of mine. He just naturally brings an energy that I think kind of gets. We could get a lot out of him, but he also kind of got a lot out of us as well. This was the episode that a certain piece of baby gear that has been brought up over and over again through the podcast history. This is when it was first introduced. Do you remember what that? Do you remember what that first piece of baby gear that Nick talked to us about?
Butt spatula.
The butt spatula,
which I've used like twice.
It came up. Well, I tell you this: the Bryce's rash on his butt got better. There have been times during this like 2.5, 3 week process that I was like, yeah, butt spatula would probably be pretty clutch right now because I'm applying like 3 different creams to his butt.
We still have it. We actually have a couple, but we just don't use it very often.
Yeah, you can in and out with your hands. It's easy. Just use a wipe to clean it up. But butt spatula got introduced. I think there was, from a practical standpoint, there's a ton of very good, useful information that came out of that episode that if you haven't listened to it, go back, listen to it, and I'd say apply it. He's a professional in the financial sector, and gave us some tips on things you can do to basically set your kid up for success financially, and also from an education standpoint with college and things like that. But there were 3 different jokes that went on that day, Jerry. You said, "What does a baby computer call their father?"
Data.
Exactly. Data. Mm-hmm. Data, for those of you who thinks Jerry is just saying data. My joke was, what do you call someone with no body and no nose?
Nobody.
Nobody knows.
There you
So
go.
nobody is actually what you guessed. You and Schumer guessed it at the exact same time. But it was nobody knows, so you're close enough. And then Nick's joke, why did the coach go to the bank?
There's quarterback.
To get his quarterback, exactly. It was topical, fit with what we were talking about, and football season had apparently just started because that's what he said.
We're almost there again with football season starting, so that's how far we've come.
We're talking episode 50. We've taken a couple breaks. Like we're a year away from where we were at, probably.
Wow, we're past the year mark for sure.
Yeah, you're right.
So, Brandon, my number 1 episode, and this is kind of a cheat, I won't lie to you, but my number 1 episode was episode 16, and that was titled Peyton. It's the episode where I kind of went over Peyton's birth, everything that had happened to us, and it's my number 1 episode, one, just because of everything I was going through at that time, but also because it's kind of a keepsake. It's something that I can look back on, and also she can look back on, and we'll have for years and years and years, and that's really cool because that's so much emotions are going on that week that you know your baby's born and everything that you're going through, and it was good to get that out so I can remember exactly how I was feeling and everything that had happened, because it's hard after, because you start going through a lot of other emotions and you start dealing with a lot of other things. So now when I want to look back and reflect, I have that episode always. So episode 16 for me was my favorite, which again, that was episode 16 was the first episode she was, alive. So 15 episodes we did before she was alive, and now she's 9 months. So it shows you how long we've been doing it now, Brandon.
Yep, and Jerry, I think you can probably guess what my favorite episode.
I had a feeling
is. We took a similar path. That's why I said we probably have one more that is going to be really similar to each other. Mine is episode 5, and you can pretty much copy and paste everything you just said about my feelings on the episode. What is interesting, so episode 5 titles Bryce. That's the episode, as Jerry said, with episode 16 Peyton, where we introduced Bryce to the world. What is kind of funny, we had a little 2.5 week stretch. So episode 3, we ended that episode and said, hey, next week, Brandon's going to be announcing his baby boy. We're going to find out what his name is, pretty much all that. And then the following episode 4, we titled The Audible. Mm-hmm. I guess we stuck with the football theme for a lot of our early episodes. That's when we went to the hospital. My wife was supposed to be induced. We were there for a couple of days. It didn't happen. They sent us back home. So we're kind of in limbo. Then episode 5 came, and I was listening back to it, and it's almost like I was putting myself in that moment. And you're right, man. It's great. I can't wait to listen to that later on and let Bryce hear it, see kind of what he thinks. It's a beautiful keepsake. You said it perfectly. The other thing is that was the episode that clued me into how much the audio sucked.
Yeah, I was gonna
When I
say.
was- when I
I'm
was
glad that
listening
mine
back.
was 16, not 5. Just
Yeah, I'm
because
sure
of
you
the
are.
audio.
Hey, Brandon, let's buy professional microphones right before my daughter was
It
born.
wasn't. It was like 8 episodes before that, but nice.
Yeah. I also mentioned in the middle of the episode that I thought that I was tired, basically. And note to past Brandon, you thought you were tired. You were not tired. at
You
all
were
at
not
that point.
tired.
But last 2 jokes from me, from you. This is one of your weaker jokes of all the jokes I've heard you say. You probably gonna think it's hilarious. What's brown and sticky?
A stick. I love that joke.
What's brown and sticky? A stick.
I love
Yeah,
that joke.
Nolan
It's so
didn't give
dumb.
you that one.
No.
Mine was, what did Jay-Z call his wife before they got married? Fiance. And I think I said it just like that.
Yeah, you probably
But
did.
those are our top
I'll let you win that one because it was
5
Bryce's episode.
that made a top 10. Yeah, whatever.
A
stick.
That was good, Brandon. I like that. It was kind of fun going back and reminiscing about the episodes. And if you haven't listened to all of our episodes before, definitely go back, hit some of the highlights we just mentioned. There's a lot of good stuff in every episode, but there's definitely some that probably hit home a little bit more than others. So always read the bios and the titles. They usually are pretty good at describing what goes on. But our next top 5, Brandon, is lessons or things we can't wait to teach our kids. Kind of on the more of the fun side, not like we're not talking like deep life lessons. Like I can't wait to teach my kid about love. Nothing like that. We're talking about fun stuff, things that we can't wait to teach them about love. Now we ain't talking about that. We're talking about fun stuff. So top 5 things we can't wait to teach our children. Number 1 for me, or I might say number 1, but just the first one that's on my list. And it's kind of, I feel like I don't need to teach her it because she's already doing it. But I can't wait to teach her how to throw a baseball or softball. I love baseball. I think playing catch with your kid is super fun. So I can't wait to be able to play catch with her. So teaching her how to throw a softball or baseball will be just great. Although, like I said, she's already throwing the little soft one she has. So apparently she doesn't want to learn from me. She just wants to do it herself.
We might have some low-key athletic kids because Bryce has a little bit of an arm on him.
There
and
you
he
go.
gets super excited. Like, he plays catch with himself. Like, he
Yeah.
throws the ball across the room, goes over and get it, and throws it back the other way. It's great. The first thing for me is, and these aren't in particular order like the other list was, but to read. For me, I loved and still love reading. You and I are in a book club together. And that love of reading started from my mom from an early age. My favorite book as a very young kid was Cat in the Hat. If you let her tell it, by the age of 2, I had it memorized. I had read it so much. And if you let my wife tell it, I'm trying to do the same thing with Bryce because I've read him that book at least 25 times in his life. And it's not a short kid's book to get ready for bedtime, but read the whole book complete with the different characters' voices. I may have it rememorized at this point. But when one thing I got from you, Jerry, is like your dad read like the Harry Potter books to you guys growing up. Like that, the thought of doing something like that for Bryce and potentially if we're blessed enough, my other kids, like books and reading just take you into like a whole different world. I remember just loving them growing up, and if I can like almost like kind of copy what your dad did and find some series to read to my kids, not just read them like one-off bedtime stories, but things like that. I can't wait for that. It's going to be super fun.
Well, Brandon, just like our last list, we got some of the same things. To read is definitely on my list as well. Pretty much everything you mentioned, like you said, we're in a book club. I love reading. I think just reading opens up just whole new worlds, and it'll be so much fun to like be able to read series and stories and just together. I think that'll be a great bonding time, and I can't wait for that to happen. So to read is definitely on my list as well. So we copied each other there.
All right. I'm going to jump ahead of you and go to the next one.
Do it.
Because the second on my list, and people might think this is like corny, but I consider myself like a funny guy.
Yeah.
And I don't want to square as a kid. Like I want to teach my kid to be funny.
I like it.
And I think that comes from like little like life lessons, but like I remember like I was like the lunch table at school. you can go back and forth. And part of this comes from like my immediate family, some of my extended family. Like you go to one of our family get together, we're just going at each other all day. Our friend group is pretty similar in that way. So I think part of that is going to be, it's hard to teach somebody how to be funny. So that's a little cop out, and technically you can get mad at this, but that's my number 6. Because I do have some other ones, but the point of it is letting him experience enough life to be able to go back and forth with people, not get offended, have a good sense of humor. Like those are things that I think one, make a pretty cool person to hang out with, but also it can take you far in life. So I want to teach him how to be funny.
I think that's a good one.
I won't have him around Uncle Jerry because Jerry isn't funny at all.
Yeah, okay. The next one on my list, Brandon, is music, and not to play music, because as we mentioned earlier, I cannot play music well, but I have a great love of music. And one thing that I was blessed growing up with having multiple parents is that I heard a lot of different types of music. My dad, my mom, my stepdad, my stepmom all listen to different types of music. I was in the car a lot. I listen to different types. So I love music, and I can't wait to share that.
Which one of them listen to hip-hop, Jerry?
That was just me on my own. That was my friends. Have some Nellyville that my cousin got me that my parents didn't know about. So no, it was. I did love all kinds of music, and I just want to expose Peyton to lots of different types of music, and I think that will be fun. One thing that always makes me sad, and I don't think she thinks this, but like Macy, she doesn't know a lot of these different types of music, and I love the fact that I know classic rock, alternative rock, country music, old school country, new school country, hip hop, old school hip hop, new school hip hop, pop music. I mean, you name it, I pretty much know it, and I love that. So hopefully she has an affinity to love music that way too, or even just finding what her style is. So maybe she doesn't love it all, but she loves something. That'll be cool. Maybe she'll be into like old school rock and wear, Rolling Stones and Ramones t-shirts and stuff. Who knows?
Well, I don't even know if you have to be into them to go to Kohl's and buy one of those shirts.
That's true.
They seem to be
everybody's back in right now.
Right, exactly. I actually have that on my list as well, but a different variation. The listening and experiencing and coming up with like your own kind of style for what you listen to, that's super important. But I drilled it down a little bit. Like I want to teach Bryce how to play the saxophone. Like I played the saxophone growing up. It actually paid me and won me some money. And took me across the country when I was in high school. And it's one of those things that, one, selfishly, it gives me a reason to pull it back out more consistently. I don't play it nearly as much as I should or really want to. But it's just something about like playing that instrument. It's a different level of expression. Now I'm saying specifically the saxophone, truthfully. Like I'm gonna let him decide what he wants to play, to a degree. If it was up to me, I would have been playing the drums. But my mom was like, "Nah, you pick something different. You're not gonna be in percussion." So the saxophone was my number 2 choice at the time, but I'm glad that I did it. So I have a lot of fond memories with it. I want to see him playing a musical instrument. Hopefully, the sax.
Brandon, I don't know if you know this about me. I played the saxophone.
We've had these conversations.
When I was in 5th
sounded
grade.
more like the saxophone played you.
That's true. Well, I was playing it, and like you don't have to like rent the instrument when you're a kid. I was like, I kind of liked it, and I was like, keep playing it. My mom's like, nah, you ain't that good. Basically, she's like, it ain't for you.
She got sick of hearing that.
She probably did. It's funny. I'm actually happy she did, but it was just funny because I was like, I can do this, and she's like, nah. The next one on my list, Brandon, it might be my number 1, but it's something I can't wait to teach all my kids, Peyton, and then obviously if we have more, but just sports in general. I love sports. I can't wait to teach them, the different rules, how to play them, watching them, things about them. And again, it doesn't really even matter to me. I love baseball, I love hockey, I love football, I love basketball. I actually know a decent amount about soccer. I mean, you name it, I'll be happy to talk about it and teach it. So I'm really excited to teach sports, play sports, anything about it. I think it'll be cool to to hopefully have them be at least a little bit into it, or at least to be able to understand it, because I think that, having at least a working knowledge of sports is healthy. But sports teaches you so much other than just winning and losing. Teaches you how to be a part of a team and how to grow and all that good stuff. So sports is on my list, Brandon.
So sports is next on my list as well. So once again, I drilled it down a little bit, but really it's sports in general. Like, me, I'm a huge basketball fan. I'm a huge NBA fan. And part of the reason is it's almost like I took what I like watched with my dad, and I just like took it a step further as far as like understanding how everything actually works. And it's my hope that like I'm not just like watching sports with my kids, but I'm actually like teaching them about the game, like things to look out for, like that the average fan doesn't necessarily look at. Truthfully, the other side of this, I'm a beast in fantasy football, as you know, Jerry.
You are literally have zero wins.
I want to show my kids.
Zero.
No, I do have wins.
3 ships. You got 0. 3-0, folks. Let's just say that.
It's the league that he and I are in together that he's referring to is a very nuanced league. It has some very interesting
2 leagues
rules.
Together, and you have ships in the other league either.
The other league we joined together last year. And actually, if you want to talk about like just money coming back, the other league you're talking about that evolved
0.
into one we're in now, I have gotten paid more than you every season I've been involved in the league.
0.
Came in second twice.
0.
Whatever. If you ain't first, you laugh. The point of fantasy is get your money back. That's the point.
Which you haven't done.
The point is win.
I got 3 ships. You got 0. That's all I'm gonna say. That's fine. It's kind of like dad jokes,
So
winning versus losing.
Jerry kind of helped create the rules in the league.
I actually did
and
not.
so he
I can't take credit for that.
I joined the league after he had already started his little run. It took a little bit to get used to it. We're fine.
Every year I've won, you've been in the league, for the record. I didn't have any championships before.
It was the first 3 years I was in the league. Had to get used to the league.
Anyways, we've been doing it like 15 years.
It's a weird league.
And I have 3, he has 0. But I like it, Brandon. Sports is on your list. So
specifically to play soccer and to shoot a basketball is actually what's on my list.
Okay. Shoot a basketball, he might have to learn from someone else, but I like it. We'll get him there. Last one on my list, Brandon. I can guarantee this is not on your list. The last one on my list is something a little weird, but I think it's a lot of fun, and it can lead to probably some good conversations and just late night fun, and that is to teach Peyton how to play euchre. Euchre is kind of a Michigan card game, but it's usually between 4 people, 2 and 2. It's a lot of fun, but what I like about euchre is one, not everyone knows how to play, so it's kind of a fun thing if you know how to play with other people.
Spades is better.
And the other thing that's great is if you're playing euchre, like I said, a lot of times just good conversations around the card table as you're playing. And plus, if you have the same partner, so let's say Peyton was my partner, you kind of create that little bit of a bond and like knowing them without having to say anything. So that's kind of fun. So playing euchre is something I can't wait to teach her. My dad actually taught me how to play at like a graduation party one time when we were sitting at a table. So it'll be something hopefully I can pass down to her as well.
So spades over euchre all day long. Dominoes over euchre all day long.
What's
the
dominoes?
Right dominoes. Big 6 is the big.
There's different dominoes out there, folks. We found this out the hard way. There's lots of different versions of dominoes.
Yeah, and they normally go down racial lines.
It's actually very accurate. You can Google it; it'll tell you.
Also, spades versus euchre might be the same.
That might be the same thing.
My last one on my list is to teach him how to play Madden.
Oh,
it's going to take him far. Like, and Madden is something that one thing I'm excited about. Like, I feel like my wallet says that I'm a kid at heart, but practically I don't play video games like I want to. But I just like get suckered into like buying like the latest greatest sometimes. By suckered in, I mean I just convince myself to do it. But it's a lot easier to find time to do stuff like that when you're doing it with your kid, because we can I can trick his mom into saying that this is me hanging out.
Well,
with
you
him.
teach him
It
how to
really is
play.
for me.
You teach him how to play Madden, and if he wants to learn NCAA, send him over to his Uncle Jerry's, and we'll teach him how to play NCAA. But you
Okay,
can do
now
the
we want
Madden.
to talk about something that I jumped in that y'all had the rules on and start winning. You better leave NCAA out of it too.
I can't wait.
But ultimately, long story short, playing. I love playing Madden. It's super fun. All of his extended family play Madden. It's competitive. You get some people around a TV. You start talking trash. That's the other side of teaching them to be funny. It's just competition breeds hurt feelings sometimes, and you got to be able to be quick with it.
I like it. Well, that was a good list, Brandon. And that concludes our top 10s. So now all that's left is a dad joke. You ready for it?
Jerry, for the 50th time at least, I'm waiting with bated breath.
Yes. Brandon, do you know why you're not allowed to fart in an Apple store?
Oh, getting a little risque. We're
Uh-huh.
talking about poots. No, I don't know why, Jerry.
They don't have windows. That's funny, and
That's
you know it.
pretty good.
That's a
That's
good
pretty
one.
good.
I like that one. Do you want the
pretty
second
good.
one, or do you want to end on that? Because I like that
Let
one
me
the
hear the
best.
second one. No. Well, you should have said that one second.
That was funny. I thought it was funny. All right. When you die, what is the last part of your body to stop working?
Your butt.
You-
You fart at the end
Nope.
in an Apple store.
Your pupils, they dilate. That's funny too. Don't even lie. To play on
That
words.
was actually pretty decent.
The first one was funnier,
understand the
but I
concept
agree.
behind it.
The first one was funnier. Anyways, when we look back on our 100th episode, if we get that far before killing each other, we will look at the. Hopefully, this will be one of our favorites, and we'll say that I won this dad joke competition. But for everyone listening, like we
Quite
said,
sure you didn't.
this is our 50th episode. Thank you all for listening to as many episodes as you have. And whether you just started listening to us or you have from the beginning, we appreciate each and every single one of you. It's been a great journey thus far. We're excited to do even more. As Bryce is about to hit 1, Peyton's about to hit 9 months. They're getting into more stuff than ever, and we're just, like we said, starting to figure out some things, but have so much more to learn, and hopefully you're there as we're learning it. So if you haven't already, liked us on social media, tell us what you think, tell your friends about us, and for the next 50 episodes, continue to listen to us. So for Brandon, as always, I'm Jerry, and you've been listening to Dad Jokes.